Are you looking for a fresh cut in Westerly? Step into Rio's Barber Shop in Granite Plaza. Whether it's a classic trim or a trendy new look, we've got you covered. Experience the perfect cut for every age and style in a friendly and relaxed atmosphere. At Rio's, it's not just a haircut, it's an experience. Visit Rio's Barber Shop in the Granite Plaza in Westerly or give us a call to schedule your appointment at 401-315-2208. Your style, our craft, Rio's Barber Shop.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Roll Call. It is 4:30-ish on Monday, and do you like the ish?
It is ish.
And I am joined, as always, by our Westerly Town Manager, Shawn Lacey, our Police Chief, Paul Gingerella,
Hello.
our wonderful Rhode Island Radio and Television Hall of Famer, Betty Jo Cugini, who hates when I say that for some reason. And our special guest of the day, whose last name I did not ask how to pronounce. I thought it was Alicchio, but I thank you, by the way.
So they probably can see that.
Oh, they 100% saw that.
Yeah. You're on the radio. This is camera. Oh, and we moved up.
Yeah, you have to realize it's the radio. You kind of just talk. You can scratch your head. You can.
Yeah.
Here you gotta.
You're like in the hot seat over there too.
It is your good side.
It's your good side. Yeah.
We made sure.
Well, as you know,
if there is a good
I
side,
can't insult someone before I've ever even had a conversation with them. So how's it going, everybody?
Nice.
Very good. Happy Monday.
Happy
Monday.
Tomorrow is big April Fool's.
Yes.
Right?
True.
I asked last week because so last week DJ Gadget filled in for me.
She did a great job.
And
Excellent. Outstanding job.
So you guys were so you guys
you.
were saying that thank you, Betty Jo. You guys were saying that you were going to tell me you were going to decide who was better and maybe kick me to the curb.
Well, can we kick you to the curb?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'll go home early.
She was rated way up there. We would take her back. Put it that way.
Okay.
I think we're lucky. We have two people that are very qualified that we can choose from, right?
And she participated. We had to encourage her a little along the way. Hey, you can participate, which she did.
Yeah. Well, I don't like to participate. I like to derail.
Yeah, you want to participate, derail, kind of.
Yeah. I prefer to derail. And so last week I wasn't here because it was my girlfriend's birthday,
which birthday,
I
Jackie.
Totally forgot about before the day before to tell you guys that I wasn't going to be here. Well, I'm glad tomorrow, April Fool's Day, is our 3-year anniversary of dating. So
you didn't forget that tomorrow.
I didn't forget it. No, I didn't forget it. Although we were doing a grocery order and she was like, well, what do you want to do for dinner on Tuesday? And I was like, what's Tuesday? And then she looked at me for too long.
And that was not good.
So I think I'm once again in the doghouse. But anyway, so last week was good though without me?
No, we missed you, but DJ did a nice job.
Did a very good job. Holding the fort down.
Yes.
All right. Well, today we have, do you want me to call you Anthony, Tony, Detective, Sir?
No, that's no. My father was Sir.
The best drummer in the area.
Well, we could go with that.
Yeah,
we can go with that. Chef. Well, and
you're an actor.
Now he's an actor.
An actor. Yep.
So we got it all going on right. Yeah.
We're afraid he may retire and take off to New York or something.
Man.
He definitely could.
If it takes off, who knows?
You should. you fit the part pretty good. You did.
I did.
He did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we had good backing and the crew that put it together.
It was fun.
Yourself, it was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
For those that don't know, maybe we could tell them.
In the
Westerly's
movie,
Gold. Well, you're
Gold. Yeah, but you also did a great piece prior to that ran before that.
The trailer,
just the trailer,
just
hysterical.
The heist, the soupy heist, of the Golden Dangler, which was the trophy. And if you haven't seen it, go to YouTube and just type that in, the heist, the soupy heist, and it's there. It's funny.
It's really good.
And you got to see the documentary that Betty Jo and Chris Walsh did.
Yep,
absolutely amazing.
Well, you know what? It's a tradition, and actually, the Providence Journal did a big piece on it today.
Really?
Yes, online, and tomorrow it will be in the print edition. So
Really?
we thank
On
the food
on the whole
editor,
movie? Really?
Gail Champa, about the tradition and how special it is in Westerly. So thanks for being part
This
of
is
it.
like the third time that we've talked about it, and yet no soupy. Or
We still have no
juice, or
soup at the
nothing.
table. I know.
Well, it's coming.
Well,
it's,
we-
Here for the
it's not
snacks.
quite ready yet.
Where
Right.
you guys
It's-
can't
Some
see it
people's are
early.
ready. Some
You guys
already.
can't see it right now, but the Soupy Heist movie is playing on the side while we
Perfect.
talk.
Thank you.
Oh, cool.
So they all can
It's
watch
really
it and
well
see
done.
Tony in his
Yeah.
in
In
action.
his element.
Yeah.
I remember, well, one of the scenes was right there next to Wesley Jewelry in the old bank. And I had to run up the sidewalk with a gun. But the gun was fake, wasn't loaded. And
That was
Your work
running.
gun is fake too, isn't it?
I said, I better call the station
There he
and let
is.
them know there's a guy
Right.
dressed in black running up High Street
Good point.
with a fake gun. And
Yeah.
it's me. And there was a guy
Is it a
sitting in
run
the
or
truck
is
right
it
there
a
watching.
slow-
And you just
the
watch
fast
him. He's
walk?
like, his mouth was open. I said, no, it's fake. Stop filming. It's fake. Don't worry. We're just making a movie.
That's great. That's
haven't
great.
Oh, all the big lights and the things.
No, it
weren't
was
out
outside.
there
It was
with
a day like this, as a matter
It
of
wasn't
fact.
like a movie set then.
Well, kind of. It was.
Oh,
It was natural setting.
I haven't seen the run yet. I'm just anyway. All
The
right.
run wasn't too far.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
you're
Yeah, no.
pushing it, calling it a run.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was telephone pole to
Well,
telephone pole,
yeah.
60 feet.
In front of Negrelli's for one part of it.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah, it was-
yeah,
it
it
was
was great
good.
being filmed downtown.
Right.
It was fun.
So anyway, Tony, tell us a little about your position. I mean,
Well,
I know what you do. We know what you do, but what do you?
I've been with the department now for 25 years and can retire tomorrow if I chose to do so.
You haven't
Oh,
chosen
look
that
out.
yet.
But I haven't chosen that
Yeah.
yet. But I handle juvenile matters, juvenile prosecution, elderly affairs, sex offender registration, amongst other things. I've worn many hats in the department, thanks to you and when you were chief, and now under Paul. So basically, I'll talk a little bit on the senior side. We have a program in place where it's an at-risk resident, in which if there's somebody that's suffering from some type of diminished capacity or whatnot, we have a form that we can fill out. And basically, it gives us a picture of the person, all their information, all their pertinent information, who is the next of kin, who is their caretakers, medications, just in case we find somebody that is out of place and they're confused, and we can help them out. And this way here, this all goes into our system. And if somebody were to find them, if they were out wandering or that type of thing, we could easily find out who they were.
So they can just call and ask for you, or ask to be put to your voicemail.
Yes.
You can do it.
So it's a
yeah.
registry type of thing?
Exactly. And then, like I said, whoever the power of attorney is, durable power of attorney, doctors, there's a lot of information there, but it's good to know so we can make phone calls. Again, if whoever the caretakers are of that person, whether it be siblings or spouse, that type of thing, what their diagnosis is, so we have an idea of what it is, so we know what we're dealing with when we're out there as police officers.
That's so important because it's multi-generational, especially in our area,
Right.
right? And people tend to forget as they get older. And I'm sure that people sometimes get into an unfamiliar place and then they don't know what to do, right? So the caretakers are concerned. And
Yeah, and if they're suffering from some type of diminished capacity, they could be right next door to their house and get confused. It depends on what level and where they're at in their mental state, or if they're having some type of episode, that type of thing.
Yeah, a lot of times too. If we go to a call and it's with someone that's elderly, we may not know who to contact. I mean, they could actually live with their family. We don't know that. So at least this kind of information helps us get quick decisions and contact the right people that we need to contact quickly.
Just to be clear, I got to make light of it a little bit. This isn't if somebody wants their elderly parent just to keep an eye on them. That's not.
No.
They have to be in some diminished capacity. They have to be
Right.
in some sort of
Right,
capacity,
dementia
or something that
Alzheimer's,
you'd
that
want
type
the
of thing.
police to be alerted if they were the capacity to get lost, or the capacity to be wandering around, or
And one of the things I do when they do register, I tell them the best thing they can do too. Say the person goes missing or they're out wandering, take a sock that's been worn and put it in a plastic bag and put it somewhere. So that way, if we ever had to do a track with the dog, that sock, we can get that sock, we can get the scent from the person.
Wow, what a great idea.
And then that way there. Also, there's the
Air tag.
Put that on their person somewhere, if it's a medallion or what it is, another way to track people. Their name somewhere, so at least we have some idea, because sometimes they someone will get confused, they won't remember the name. Most of the time they do, but just in case.
And I would think that if you are in kind of that diminished capacity and a law enforcement person comes at you, it can be frightening, right?
Sometimes, or they can be combative. They don't realize what we're trying to do. We're trying to help them, but they might feel threatened by anybody that comes upon them, not just law enforcement. But
yeah, if we know ahead of time, if we know we're going to someone's house that has issues like that, it's much easier for us to know.
I mean, and for the most part, if somebody would have called, they would tell us who we're looking for. But just in case we would find somebody that's out there and they're not. Nobody's aware that they've gone outside or whatnot.
Does Westerly have a silver alert? Are you part of that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what is the silver alert? Because I know I see it at other places.
It's basically if someone's gone missing, we can pump that into the database, and basically it sends out an alert to all the departments, all of Rhode Island that would go to.
Essentially, it's an Amber Alert for
senior
citizens or certain.
You see them on the bulletin boards on 95. You'll see Silver Alert, Rhode Island plate. It will give you a license plate, or we'll say a name, last seen at such and such. We've had, which you've done. We had people, they get in their car in Wesley and they end up in Albany, New York,
or New Hampshire,
and they were just going to get
Stop
gas,
and shop. Yeah,
right, and they just ended up in Albany, New York, with no ID, no wallet, no money. Nothing on them. They just happen to need gas. They pull into a gas station. They're totally confused 3.5 hours from home.
Yeah.
And that's another part of my job too. And along with the chief, I would have to have his approval. It's revocating licenses. Mm-hmm. If somebody's had multiple accidents, or I'll have family members say that we don't want to take their license. Unfortunately, I have to be the Grim Reaper, as town manager has called me before, and take away their last bit of freedom. It's an awful thing to do, but they're at risk. They're putting other people at risk. They shouldn't be driving. A lot of times I can get that from their doctor. I need a note from their doctor saying that they should not be driving a motor vehicle in their state. If their eyesight's really horrible, or there's some other kind of medical issue, if they have seizures, that type of thing. That's not a good idea to put somebody behind the wheel of a car. So I would send in paperwork to the department, the motor vehicles, and they would, look over the report. And usually there's never a problem. Then they would send notification to them that their license is no longer valid.
And we used to always tell the families, or Tony would, is use him as the bad guy.
Right.
Because families struggle with this. You try taking your parent, one of a parent or a family member's license away, and that's it. Like he said, that's their last little bit of freedom they have. Once you take that, and they struggle with trying to do, hide the car keys, take the car away. You've had people go out and buy another car. Every time they take the car away, they go buy another car.
Battery,
I'll have another one delivered. Go ahead, take it.
They just have another car delivered to the house.
There was one incident where the son took the battery out of his mom's car, and he woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning to see his mother under the hood of his car taking the battery out of his car.
Put it in her car.
And she was in her 80s, and she was like,
I'm bolting it. But make him the bad guy. Go to him, because the letter they get from the state is the kids or the sibling or whatever. They could, any family member could just sit back and go, nothing to do with us.
Right.
That's the state.
And it's their doctor's advice that they should medically they should not. They're not cleared. And then they would have to go to Cranston. Someone have to take them to Cranston. They go through a battery of tests, including it's a psychological. It's a whole system driving test, and if they don't pass, then.
Right.
And it's tough.
The end of it.
And it would be tough. It's if they're at the point they're losing their ability to operate it, they're not going to be able to pass the test. Although someone will argue. They'll say, I'll go right now.
I'll go take it now. Yeah.
But if they do pass the test, then it's a sign, at least to the kids, of, hey, maybe you were wrong.
Yeah, maybe you're wrong.
No, it's wrong. Definitely at that point.
Probably not happening.
Yeah, no,
it's never
happening.
You've never had somebody go past the test, have you?
Not that I'm aware of.
Everyone you've yanked is stayed
yanked.
That's what you said. You yanked the license.
Every one of the
Tony used to come into my office. He goes, "Hey, I got to have you sign this." Another one, Tony. Another one's life you're taking.
We went to the senior center for Thanksgiving dinner. So they, everybody stood up and started clapping and cheering for us. And he goes, "What are they cheering for you for? You're one step away from taking their last bit of freedom away."
What about hoarding? It seems like there's a lot of, older people. They may not be as mobile. They may not leave. Things happen. There's stuff everywhere. What happens? Can we call the police department? Is that something?
They call the police for everything.
Well, I know we do, but
right, exactly. So
we just dealt with it.
I have a lot of resources at my hands. That's a self-neglect case, or if they're if they're sick or medically not well for other reasons, those are self-neglect cases. They're not abuse cases. They're abusing themselves technically. But, when we go to those calls, we make sure there's food in the house. I mean, sometimes you walk in and it looks like CVS pharmacy because of the amount of medication that's in there. And those are the type of things that, now that it's all on body camera, I can take a look at it. And then once we discuss the case, I'll determine or not whether the Office of Healthy Aging will get involved in that, and they'll send the caseworker down. The only problem with that is with the Office of Healthy Aging, it's not the end all. Because if the person says, "I don't want anything to do with you, you can't come in," that's the end of it. They have to walk away. Basically, I've had many cases like that.
Sure. You've had some. I mean, I can remember some. The hoarding was so severe.
Oh, we couldn't even get through the door.
You can't even get through the door of the house. I mean, they're down to, living in one room. They have food delivered, or
they have a path to their bed, the bath, and that's it.
We have to get creative on stuff like that. I mean, we have to get the fire department involved and try to get them help, even though they don't want it. We can kind of force their hand a little bit.
Zoning can come in and condemn the
house
until it's cleaned up. Properties.
I did an event for RI Elder Info, nonprofit. They did a hoarding event where they brought in experts to teach. It was a continued education course for professionals, and they went through an entire thing on hoarding. And I never watched like the Hoarder Show on TLC or whatever, but I grew up my entire life thinking that my parents, or my mom specifically, was a hoarder, and it was something that I dealt with and felt bad about, and like all of this stuff forever. And they had a scale of like 1 to 5 for hoarders on that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, she's barely a 1."
Yeah,
I can't believe what a 5 is. I thought that it was bad, but it was like, oh my God, and that day stood with me a lot. Both of my parents had already passed when I watched that, and there was no like talking to anybody about that. But it's I was also amazed because it was growing up as someone whose parent went through that and struggled with that. It feels so isolating. Like there, like no one else, because you go to your friends' houses and it's not like that at all, and you're like, oh my God, like. This is so embarrassing, or this is like what it is, and then you find out it's so insanely common that
nobody wants to they don't want to get rid of anything.
Well, everything is
level 1. I can say
everything is important to them. When you think about it, my mom saved every newspaper clipping that I ever had from a basketball game to all my band stuff, and she handed me this box one day, and I said, "What's that?" Then I started going through it. I said, "Oh my God, it was great to look at once, but then it went into the fireplace because it's like, what am I going to do with it?"
The people that keep all the newspapers, because they may need it. They keep their, the National Geographic from when they first subscribed to it in 1956 or something like that.
Those could be worth money.
They could be, right? Yeah.
But everything to them.
But that's the thing. Money. They think it's going to be worth something someday, and it's just, and I'm the other extreme. I would just throw everything out, and if you need it again, you buy it, right? And that's the way I look at it. But
if you haven't used it in 2 years,
right,
send it.
Get rid of it. But that is a problem. You have had problems in town with that.
Oh yeah,
that we've had to go in and move people out. And,
then it's dumpsters upon dumpsters sometimes of clearing out their property, and
because ultimately the family's going to end up cleaning it all out at some point someday.
Yep.
Well, then you fall into the situation where if they're not properly disposing of the garbage, You get insect infestations,
rats, mice in the house,
mice and stuff in the house, those type of things, and that is a whole nother level of.
Yeah, and luckily,
it even goes further. Then it turns into something breaks in the house. Then you can't get the service person in because you don't want them seeing the inside of the house. So now you're living with no heat. Or if something breaks in the plumbing, you shut the water off. Now you live with no no bath facilities.
Well, but there's times that we've actually fixed that. I fixed someone's heater one time. Well, I didn't. I was there watching someone else, one of the other officers do
Thank
it.
you for the clarification on that.
Yeah, I watched. But I was there, so it counts.
I was greeted at the door with 2 kitchen knives and a can of Raid. That was fun.
Leave?
Huh?
Did you leave?
No. Oh. No, we weren't leaving.
Wow.
So it is. It's definitely a problem. What else are you dealing with?
What else do you do?
What about the elderly? You're dealing with elderly. You hear these stories all the time. They can't afford the prescriptions. They can't afford heat, so they turn the heat way down. They split the prescriptions in half because they can't. They're trying to save money. They have an elderly parent they're having a tough time caring for.
Well, they can. Somebody can be difficult with their kids. You know those are situations that sometimes they'll call us, and then that's a referral. I mean, then it's some type of therapeutic piece or counseling piece that needs to get into play. Hopefully that they'll and like I said, there's resources through the Office of Healthy Aging, through the hospital and various other organizations that can also come in and provide that kind of help.
Right.
And resource.
So you have contacts. You have contacts and resources you've established over the years that you can reach out to gain assistance for these people that are in need, or you hear about. Because a lot of times the people aren't calling you themselves looking for help. You hear it from someone who hears from someone who hears from someone, then you're going to investigate. Correct?
Or a lot of times too, growing up here, so you know everyone, as we know, and you get a call from an old schoolmate, classmate, and say, "Hey, my mom this, my mom that." All right, so I'll go out with the caseworkers on some of the occasions, and they're amazed at how many people I know, and it's like, wow, they grew up here, had a lot of involvement in different levels, right.
And that was one of the questions I had for the 3 of you, actually, is how difficult is it doing your jobs where you grew up?
Well, I'll start, I guess.
Pros and cons.
Everybody's my cousin, apparently.
Well, look at the last name.
That's true.
It always happens. I mean, there's officers, some will call me and be like, "Hey, dude, so-and-so is dropping your name."
There's another Paul Gingerella, right?
Well, there's another Paul Gingerella. There's a Paul Gingerella, who's a host on your show. I've gotten phone calls about people wanting insurance from me with my cell phone number. I'm like, no, wrong one.
It's the other one.
But I mean, it is difficult because ultimately, you may have to investigate a relative. Somebody always knows something about somebody else, and you're getting phone calls. Hey, I'm going to the police station. Can you meet me there? No, you can just go to the police station. Or they're always looking for something. Everybody knows you, and same thing.
They'd like a favor or that kind of thing. I said, look, we can't do favors. That's not the type of business we're in.
But you're going to know people, family issues. You're going to know the families. You're going to know the players involved. You're going to know, if you go through your arrest logs, I guarantee you're going to know somebody that's been arrested or someone. And again, like they said, everyone, if they need something, they're calling you directly because, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I guess that's a benefit to the community, right? But it can be, it can be over a little much
a detriment on the other hand.
A little overwhelming but again, from the officers.
It's definitely my opinion. It's better to live in the town that you serve, or maybe right outside like Pawcatuck, because your decisions. I mean, you have a direct impact on a lot of people. If you don't live those decisions, you kind of, especially even if you're like the town manager, you're making all these decisions. It doesn't even affect you. So
and we've had managers who live outside of town. I'm a true believer in that you should live it. And I realize it's a struggle for some to, the prices of things in the community, but to live in town, because if you just drive into town a half an hour, you put in your 8 hours and go home, you have no stake in the game. You have no stake. And I'm not saying doesn't mean you don't care about the community or whatever,
right.
But you're liable to take it. If your kids go to the school system, if they're involved in community events in town and you live in town, you take a lot more stake and responsibility in your job.
And you can make soupy.
You make soupy.
If you're lucky enough to live here, right?
For me, it's always been when I would show up on scene. If there was, people they don't know, you see the whole situation de-escalate because they know that it's a familiar face. It's somebody they know. So, it's easier. I said, look, we got to do our job. Let us do our job. We'll get through it. And that's just a reassuring feeling for them, even though they know it's not good. Fortunately, or unfortunately for them, but fortunately, my experiences for the most part have always been like I told everybody, I've never been in a fight in my life until I put a police uniform on. Then everybody wanted to fight me. And I said, why? I'm a nice guy. I can help you.
Well,
it is a matter of opinion. I know.
No, but that name, like the name recognition, it's comfortable. Certain people are more apt to talk to you more. They're more apt to actually come out and tell you what really happened because they know you. They know your mother. They know your father.
Well, working for information, if I needed information on something, I could call somebody, say, hey, what do you know about this person or that person? Or what do you know about this situation? They'd be more apt to give it to me because they know I'm not going to,
Right. And being a school resource officer for how many years?
I was 5 years at the high school, a couple of years at the middle school. Then a position was created where it was the juvenile officer as well as elderly affairs officer. And I worked in conjunction with the school resource office that were appointed after I was there. And then I called it the Bermuda Triangle.
You got everything, though. That was all.
I mean, and then the summer, I did Marine Patrol and ATV Patrol. So I've had a great career. I mean, thus far.
I got to be honest with you. When they sent the title of the show for today for me to put it up to promote it, I didn't know if it was an official title or if they were just razzing you, like he's a juvenile officer.
We would have got more creative than that.
We could have. If we were razzing him, it would have been something you may not have published, but it would have been a little more creative.
Not only the elderly affairs officer, he's a client too.
So he went. Yeah, he was in those special service roles. Then he went into detectives, and he kept.
He kept it. So he
kept
technically you are.
Because if you get good at it, you just say, "Well, you just keep that." You go on detectives, and of course, he looks at you like,
groom somebody.
Well, how am I supposed to do my detective responsibility? Well, you do it all.
Right.
I mean,
so when I was at URI doing a video on the crime lab,
was he there for BCI
Alicchio
school?
was there for BCI school.
BCI school, yeah.
Yes, he was.
Technology is definitely a little different. I think I went to BCI school in 1998.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So I don't think there was no digital cameras in 1998.
Photoshop. That was part of
We developed
the
our pictures, right?
There's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It really was. It was a lot of work. Somebody going through that. How many weeks is it?
Oh, so 2 semesters.
2 semesters.
2 semesters. Yeah. So I mean, it was a
on
lot.
a Friday.
I never
Friday.
went. He never sent me.
He didn't send you?
I never went.
Oh. Looks like
A
it
lot
was
of
worth it.
That's
good
weird,
information.
Paul, because he even sent me.
I know, that's crazy.
Betty Jo's on the list to go next.
Back to the knowing people. Quick story. So, because as you're in these positions, you get to know people and they rely on you. So, I have somebody in town that is of the elderly population, just of the elderly population, but
they prefer
a little
senior.
diminished capacity. Lives in one of the the homes in town per se. Well, he got a notice in the mail that he owed the IRS. We talked about last week with Howie, not this particular one, but he owed him $92,000. It was truly an IRS letter. He owes him $92,000 because somebody filed with his number, right? Is what it comes down to. So he has paperwork he has to fill out. So he comes to tell me this whole story because people at town hall say, "Why do these people come to you to tell you about this Social Security problem?" So now I have an appointment with him tomorrow because I have to help him fill out the paperwork that he has to send back to the IRS because he doesn't feel comfortable enough doing it himself.
So will you put the sticker on for him too while he's here?
I'll probably, if he buys the sticker, we'll put the sticker on the beach sticker too.
And it goes back to having a familiar face and knowing somebody.
I was just going to say
now,
that.
I could very easily send him, I could send him somewhere else. One of the social service person at the senior center and say, go there, they'll help you fill it. It's just easy. Just bring all your stuff in, I'll help you fill it out.
I just traveled abroad and, you can file all your paperwork and actually you have to do that way unless you're going to fill that out manually, but you can do it all through an app, and then you just show them a QR code when you get to
to the declaration.
Yeah, and there was people there losing their minds. Older people that they don't know how to navigate through some of this stuff. It's like and that's the expectation now. That I said, but you can't do that to people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They have no clue how to navigate through internet and stuff. Some of them don't even know. Sebastian Maniscalco, he did it best. He goes, my father called me. He wanted me to help him navigate, get into a computer. He said, you got to open up a window. So he goes, it's freezing out. What do you want me to open a window
That's
for?
exactly right. Yep, that's exactly
Or he
right.
turns around, opens the window. Okay, I got the window open.
Yeah.
All right, now click on.
Snow's coming in. What do you want me to do now?
There are things that are available for families, and I think that's an important thing, that you're not alone, right?
Right.
So do they call you? Do they call the police station and say, I'm in this situation? Can you tell me which way to go?
Well, I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, they would call in and explain what's going on to dispatch, and dispatch will kind of give them the places to go, because there is a ton of resources in town. But again, if it makes its way to Tony's desk,
I can direct them.
We can direct it. I mean, it makes its way to my desk. We usually, give them the options where to go.
And anybody can call the Office of Healthy Aging themselves. It doesn't have to go through me, but it's sometimes, again, here we go.
Is that in Providence, or where is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's a state agency.
State agency, yeah. And they have caseworkers and managers and whatnot. And there's, different people cover different areas. And kudos to the people I work with in this area, because they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they'll call me and ask me, of course, do you know this person? I say, yeah, of course I do. What do you mean, do I know him? And we'll go out together on different situations and handle those cases together.
But the people will call, people will still call me, and I'll say, call Tony Alicchio, right? Then, which it isn't really him that's doing it, but he'll guide them in the right direction. Right. And at least it's comforting for the person if they reach out to him, even though he's really not doing it, he's just getting them to the next step.
Right.
It's just, it gives them much more comfort in how it's being handled.
Because they're not going to, again, if you look at the form, the state form, it's fillable. It's all fillable, drop down boxes. But again, somebody that's a little bit older might have a problem with that. I have a problem sometimes. I look at it and I said, really?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think technology, you don't want to say that you don't know how to use it, right? No. You don't want to admit it. So I think an older person looks at it and immediately, I can't do this.
It can be very intimidating. It can be very intimidating, because how many I've done, even now, you fill out forms for things and you get frustrated because it's not going through. What am I missing? You're going through reading all these things. And once you finally figure out that one block you're missing that lets you go to the next step, and we do this every day. Imagine if you don't do it every day and you're trying to fill these things out. It just
then those people that are isolated, so they have no connection to the outside, a familiar face showing up again, bringing those resources with you, say, this is such and such, good friend of mine, she's going to help you out, or he's going to help you out. And that's a little easy. That lowers the anxiety levels and whatnot.
What about is Meals on Wheels, that kind of thing, trying to get people, because nutrition is a big thing, right? If you don't drive anymore or you don't get out.
Or keeping food in the house. Some people just, if it's not microwavable or something easily cooked, they just let it go.
And we assume everyone has family members to help them. There's a lot,
but they don't.
But they don't.
They have no.
But we have the senior center. We have Westerly Senior Center. We have PACE. There's a lot of
resources
within those walls too. But again, it's getting them there,
right?
Or getting them to participate in any of those programs. That's what the difficult part is.
Well, I think the senior center also has someone that helps people do those things, like fill out the forms.
Nicole, right?
Nicole does it. Yeah,
Nicole Woodward. She's great at that. I'm gonna go see her after I'm done.
And then you have bingo.
He's gonna sign up himself, right?
And you have bingo, right?
Bingo up there.
Oh, bingo!
So you do.
It starts
at bingo, putting out fights.
Yeah, that starts at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
that's
bingo starts at 6. They start lining up at 3.
Right.
3 hours early. So switching over to juvenile. How'd you get wrapped up in that? Why is there someone different in juvenile? Why is there someone different handling juveniles as opposed to just?
Well, in the juvenile world, we don't call them defendants. If they're, they've broken the law, they're respondents. There's levels of, again, crimes. A status offense would be like a traffic violation to a juvenile as it would be to an adult. A misdemeanor charge would be a wayward charge in the juvenile world. And then when you have a delinquent charge would be the same as a felony charge in the juvenile world. As far as the juveniles go, again, if a report comes in or if there's a juvenile arrest, that comes right to my desk. I look at them and determine where that could be. If it's a first time offender, kid made a mistake and they vandalized something, okay, we have a juvenile hearing board. It's a diversion program through the department. We can send it there. So basically we'd bring them in through, there's a group of people, local residents that sit on the board. It stays within the police department. It doesn't go to family court. It stays out of the court system. We handle it like within the department, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't go any further than that. We say this is, there's a petition filed with the parents or the legal guardians, whoever it might be. And then basically they'll come before the board. We meet at the station, we'll discuss the case, what would be the punitive piece of that. Restitution, a letter of apology. We can't really
Community service, right?
Community service. That's a problem because at certain ages, nobody wants to take somebody in for community service. So, there's a liability and we get that.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anybody out there that has something to do, it's got to be nonprofit that they can go work off their time. It's usually not more than 10, 15 hours, 20 hours of community service. I know that's a requirement for school. They have to do so many hours for graduation.
30, right?
30 hours. So, it's you don't want it to be a burden on the parent, but unfortunately that's what happens.
Right.
There's also a diversion called intake at family court, where if it's a recidivative person at the police station, in other words, if they've done it more than once, I can't go. It's like you get a bite at the apple for the juvenile hearing board.
Does that also, can you do violent, or can you do like assault charges?
I'll touch on that too. There's certain crimes that we will not take to the hearing board because, like violent crimes, weapons, drugs, sexual assaults, those type of things, we cannot bring that to the juvenile hearing board. Those have to go to family court. I have to petition the family court, and then it goes on a formal docket, and we go before a magistrate or a judge in family court. And then it's a whole different world there for.
And do you go to court?
Yes, every Tuesday.
Wakefield?
Sometimes
in
family court in this area is only on Tuesdays. If we say we had an arrest overnight, I would have to travel to Providence and go to family court in Providence.
Which is a whole different ball.
I call it purgatory.
Which he's done many times. And I remember those Monday mornings when he would come into me and say, I'm going to Providence.
Yeah,
and he did not have the happy look on his face.
We'll talk about sobering.
Yeah.
The last time I had gone there, it was the park is a nightmare because there's construction everywhere. Number one,
Garrahy, is it still at Garrahy, or is it?
It's Dorrance Street.
Yeah,
one Dorrance.
Garrahy, yep.
So I'm pulling in, and as I'm going by the front of the building, I see a truck going out, and I'm at a stoplight. As I'm ready to run the stoplight and break the law and get a ticket to get that front spot right in front of the building. I get there. I'm early now. I'm supposed to be there at 11. I'm there at 10:30. My case doesn't get heard till 1 o'clock. So I'm in there all day. As I'm coming out, I see a fire, a ladder truck, an ambulance. Doesn't have me boxed in.
So you can't leave.
So I can't leave because there's a medical emergency. I'm there for another half an hour. I could barely get in my car. I thought I was going to have to climb over the passenger seat to get in to sit. Here I'm thinking, okay, I got it made now because it's a quick shot out of here. Nope.
No.
Totally different world.
Oh,
you go to the 5th floor. If you're assigned to the 5th floor, like I said, I call it purgatory because you get up there, it's like a beehive.
Yeah.
It's just, when we think we have it bad.
Absolutely.
Same thing we have to on the criminal side. You would have to, if they close Wakefield for whatever reason, it could be law day, it could be judge day, whatever. There's always a courtroom open in Providence,
always.
And that's where you're bringing your arraignments. So you're bringing your
during COVID. Wasn't a lot of the places
COVID. Providence was only one during COVID.
Right.
And then we were doing court via Zoom.
Virtual. We're doing virtual
court. I mean,
which I don't know why we don't do more of now. I mean,
there's some states in the country that do.
Yeah.
You don't leave the jail. If you're in jail, you come right out. You stand before a camera.
For juveniles, though,
Florida does that,
I'm looking at the pictures and they're in their pajamas.
Right. Right.
I said, what's the impact here? It's like,
well, go to school. You go to the middle school. There's kids in their pajamas. I pulled in there I don't know, a couple of weeks ago for something in the afternoon.
College.
There's kids going, these kids in their pajamas.
It's pajama bottoms. Yeah, and it's a hoodie.
I usually come to work like that, but today I knew I was coming.
That'll be the next look at the PD. Like pajama bottoms and Crocs or something.
Oh,
It'll be the.
I always said instead of the blue stripe,
it will happen someday.
Instead of the blue stripe down the side of our pants, we should put a Vera Bradley stripe.
Absolutely.
And then have Uggs for boots.
Why
Because it'll be
not?
nice and cozy.
Why not?
Cowboy might be a little more comforting. Comforting for your clientele.
Yeah.
So Tony, so then you've been a detective, what, 3? I don't even know what it's been. 3 years, 2 years, 3 years.
At least more than 3.
More than that.
Almost 4.
5. Close to 5.
So, and then what do you? Detectives, you find time with all this to do your detective responsibilities because you listed off some.
Well, I have to make the time. I mean, it's I wasn't supposed to bring this all up to the top floor when I got promoted, but I guess
it went with you anyway. It was easier, Tony.
Yeah, it's just easy. Let him do it.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Well, you're good at it, so
if that's the problem, it's a compliment.
No,
because if you're good at
it,
you keep it. If you weren't good at it, then you think to yourself, should I really be good at it? Maybe you should make.
Well, they're going to start making mistakes, I guess.
I don't think people understand how difficult it is. I mean, there are so many steps to what you have to do that it's not just, one and done, right?
Oh, no. I mean, the amount of paperwork for a juvenile matter, like the juvenile hearing board, what I have to send out to the parents or the guardians and, all the paperwork that has to be formally done. If there's one bit of information in there that's wrong, like today, for instance, I have to go back and redo it. So, it's time consuming.
What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Helping people. I mean, I didn't get into the job just to, put notches in my gun belt and, get arrests and that type of thing. I mean, I'll admit, I'd like to drive fast, shoot guns. I never have to worry about what I was wearing when I was in patrol because every day was the same thing.
Now you enjoy the fashion.
I do. Don't. Let me tell you something. I have more clothes now than I've ever had in my life. I'm the best dressed.
Right.
If we had superlatives at the police station, I would win that.
Maybe nice to smile.
And best
absolutely smile. Best smile. Look at
certainly the best smile.
With the tea and with
they
the tan. When I get a
perfect.
little tan, it's
absolutely.
Yeah, I've been thinking I got to compliment his smile at some point during
this. Says, how do you get your teeth so white? I say, wire brush and bleach. What do you use?
Plus,
it's not the hairstyle.
Tan.
No.
It's not your hairstyle.
Well, this is it. I mean,
is.
a Mach 4 razor, edge gel, exfoliate every now and then, and I'm good to go.
Wow, there you go. Fashion tips.
Yeah, he's definitely
fashion. Rios was the sponsor at the beginning of the show, and I guess Tony's not contributing to Rios Barbershop.
Well, if he could do it, I would go do a straight edge, but I mean, I don't want to come in all bludgeoned either.
Yeah, I know.
Not Carlos. He wouldn't come in. He wouldn't do that. Although he did say in his interview that he did with Brent, and I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be on the show at some point. One of the two of you, at least. He was like, I only cut one guy, and he doesn't talk about it. I was like, all right.
If I do it, do I get a free haircut? I wonder.
I wonder if you.
No, not you. You wouldn't.
We'd have to talk about.
You would not get a free haircut.
I like shaving every day. I do. I have hair actually.
You used to have really long hair.
That would be amazing. Do you have a full head of hair?
I could show you a picture of me back in the day, and it was like it was probably as long as hers.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Tell me about the music. Is that what?
It's therapy.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I've been playing with several groups, and like I said, we don't play often, but we play enough to where it's so enjoyable. Watching people. You're relating people with music, and it's just like one of those things where I've been doing it since high school. I was on the road, got to play with some great bands of great venues. I played at Lupo's. I played at the Living Room, Toad's Place.
Hey, not to interrupt, but I will. So we went up one time to see Tony's band play, and speaking of locations where you played at, he said, "Come up, good time." So I don't know, 4 or 5 of us went up to see you, and we were at an old folks' home. It was elderly home you played at.
I did do that. There was a band I was playing with up north called Illusions, and we did. They have budgets at
right.
Senior facilities,
right.
Mm-hmm.
So we would get out, and it was great money, and they had a budget, and we would provide entertainment for them.
You were
for
out
an hour.
early enough to still go out and do something else.
Exactly, and I always said,
it's
6
not the 1 a.m.
The poor people that wheeling them out. I said, well, look, we have a captive audience; they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they can't go. Someone's got to move them.
So we big a bag of like maracas and tambourines and stuff and passed them out. It was great. It was great. They loved it. And even now, I played a lot of local venues and whatnot, and it's still, again, that was part of being known. I got to open up for John Cafferty and Beaver Brown all over the state, in Connecticut too, and that was just awesome. You walk out and when Rocky Point was in full swing, and there's 3,000-4,000 people in front of you. My first experience with that was like, wow, this is what I want to do for a living.
Right.
But here I am.
I am 100% certain that at some point I have filmed you playing the drums. I'm not sure when it was.
We'll find that. I would love to have that.
I'm positive that at some point for something I filmed you playing drums once.
And this is over. I'm going to send you a picture of him with hair.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. Ben might have been.
No.
There was no hair.
There was no hair when I was.
I don't think I was born then when he had hair. So I mean,
you probably weren't born.
So did you ever go and see him play in an actual club, or
we've
only
seen
just the elderly?
We've seen him play a couple different places.
Yeah,
he's all right.
I played at Tunes on the Dunes last year.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great.
Ocean Mist. Did you play at the?
Played at the Ocean Mist.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
I played with a lot of great musicians. I play with our ACO, Art Smith.
Right.
He's a keyboard player in my band, Granite City Rock Band. We named that band when we were thinking about names. And I said, well, we were trying to think something that would be catchy. And I said, well, Wesley's known for the granite and rock. And then it just came to me, and I was like, Granite City. They used to call Wesley Granite City Rock Band.
You've had a couple names. I remember Atlantic Avenue.
Atlantic Ave.
What was the other one?
That was a big band.
Can of Corn.
Oh, Skinny Mulligan.
Skinny Mulligan, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Illusions, The Promise. That was
The Promise.
It was an all original band.
Cisco and Henry Fiore.
The Promise was actually myself, Nat Cisco, Dave Allen, and Don Campbell, who has passed. He was a wordsmith when it came to writing songs. If he had a bad time in his relationship, you knew there was a new song coming from it. So it was like it was great, and we still have that on. We digitized it on CDs because everything was on reel to reel back then. We had our own studio. Now the equipment I have, as Ben would know, is like I could just put a thumb drive in my mixing board and it records what we're doing.
Crazy. Yeah.
So you have many talents:
great.
Music.
I used to be a chef too.
You're a chef. You're a cop. Not bad.
Your favorite? What's your favorite?
Well, I want to start a new thing. We'll have that discussion after because I don't want to let that cat out of the bag.
Okay.
But my favorite, I mean, I've always been a musician.
Now.
I've always been a musician. I love playing music. That's, if I could have done that as a living, I would have done that. But I love my job. I don't miss a day of work. I mean, the only time I ever miss work is when I have shoulder surgery. Seriously, I mean, and these guys know that I'm there.
I think in order to be good, to make a difference as a police officer, you have to enjoy it. If you do not enjoy working with people and dealing with people's problems or helping people out or trying to get them through situations, you're not going to do a good job. You're not going to be very well respected in that position. Tony's worn many hats in the police department. Very respected in his position. Some hats he's had not by choice. We would give him certain roles to do, and he'd look like your head was on backwards. But he always took on the challenge and ran with it and handled it to the.
That's funny because Tony's one of the few officers left that dealt with me when I was a kid. Couple times.
Oh yeah,
we can't tell us quite yet.
Yeah.
Limitations.
He hated me back in the day. Then we were best friends.
Well, you were mean. You were just like this giant old mean
trying
person.
to get hired. I tried to give you some advice and just keep yourself out of trouble.
He's intimidating at first, but then you get to know him. He's obviously not.
It's all about perception. You walk in and I want people to look and say, maybe I shouldn't.
Right.
And him and Paulie and I had run the union. We were union president and vice president for many years. I mean, I was president for 8, and we did a lot of good work. I think we between the three of us, we were able to negotiate our last contract in 4 hours. It was great. It's like having that working relationship within
makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference.
The same thing with the community because again, he mentions the contracts and and the people, the relationships he's established. If someone comes to an issue, call this person at the senior center, call this person at housing, call this person over here, upstate, call, the elderly affair, whatever. You have all these contacts to direct people in the right direction. Where if they went to just a patrol officer that was on the road and asked that same question,
wouldn't have the same
they
response.
get a deer in the headlight.
Yeah.
Look, they just wouldn't know. They say, I'll do a report. I'll try to find you an answer, which ultimately may get to him to give the answer. But
and I go through all the logs every day to see what happened. And, if I see something that somebody I know, or not even somebody I know, that were an issue that was happening, and I still have all my contacts through the school system as well.
Right.
So that's another huge piece. I can call somebody at the school and said, hey, social workers or the school psychologist. I said, hey, I know a kid is struggling.
Right. And that's where like Dante and Ryan, the SROs now, I mean, they're relatively new in their career, and they've set themselves up early enough. They're going to have all these connections throughout their whole career, which is huge.
It's invaluable to have that.
Right.
I mean, I broke my Rolodex because there's no more room to fit anything in it with numbers and people I've met along the way. I mean, that goes, us being the furthest southern police department, we don't have as many connections up north. Our stop in the Coventry, West Warwick area, that's about where it stops for us, because we don't, we might go to trainings together. You might see somebody you went to the academy with, that type of thing. And other than that, we don't really have a lot of affiliation with those departments as far as like our level goes. I mean, the chief and the town manager might have different, because they're meeting with the chiefs, they're meeting with the administrators.
It's not too far off. We don't travel too much unless we have to.
Warwick, that's about it.
Warwick,
yeah, Burrville.
I just
not
had one
in your purview.
Well, that's where one of the musicians I played was in Purville. It's like, oh God, I hated the 295 corridor. Every weekend it was like, oh,
that's
God,
a tough one.
Well, that's it. You look at, sometimes you have meetings, Woonsocket. I'm like, oh, good God. You have a Zoom link for that meeting.
I know, Rhode Island of us.
Travel in 4 hours to get there, right? It really is.
That was nice having some Zooms.
You can go anywhere in Rhode Island in an hour. Right?
It just takes us so long. It's a solid hour. I don't care.
Solid hour.
Then
if you go for an hour meeting,
I was in the Dominican in 4 hours.
Right.
Saturday, I'm coming home. I leave there. It's 85. I come here. It's 30. I go from palm trees, white sand, and turquoise water to evergreens and no leaves. And
the leaves are coming, Tony. The leaves are coming.
It was cold. I had shorts and a t-shirt because I figured it'll be all right. I got off that airplane.
I jumped the gun too. This t-shirt, I'm a little cold.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
It's okay. It's coming that way. Thank you so much for coming in.
My
that was
pleasure.
great. We really appreciate it.
And we'll have that discussion about that other idea I have.
I'll look forward to it. Good.
I appreciate it.
Is
Good.
No acting career taking off?
No, I can't tell you. I can't.
I'm sure he's
Maybe
got
I can't disclose my sources.
he's ready to. He's like, he's already got the
time to leave yet.
Oh, I thought it was time to go.
Maybe he's going to go in the theater.
He always does. He always does history.
You saw me today.
This day in this week in history. What do we?
I don't know. It's kind of like around this time.
Around this time.
Sometimes I don't have hours to go look.
Around this time.
So we did
around this time.
On March 29th, 1931. The police cells will undergo changes. The westerly lockup chambers to be relocated and grilled doors will be installed. Reconstruction of the cell room in the Westerly Police Station will be started this morning. So essentially they went from the middle of the building, which like you see on some TV, some old TV shows, to they moved them along the edge of the walls.
This is at the Old Town Hall.
So I'm assuming, again,
what was the year?
1931.
Yeah,
it's got to be the Old Town
Hall
building because we were still over there.
They were arranged in the block style in the middle of the room, and now they're going against the walls. They redid the concrete floors. They changed them because a 19-year-old boy reached through the bars of his cell and secured a heavy club, which he used to pry loose one of the bars of his cell. So he kind of escaped.
Live and learn.
I won't lie, that kind of happened a long time ago at the other station. Remember in the juvenile, pushed out the air conditioner and
they
made his way out.
Escaped.
Really?
That's a while ago.
That's a good story.
March 31st, 1931, 2 accused of holdup at Dunn's Corner Station.
Really?
2 young men under arrest for the Dunn's Corners filling station stick-up last January, a couple months ago.
And I bet the filling station is right where
it is now. Yeah, probably.
I'm sure that's where
the Greens.
It was
or
the
Champlins or
the Westerly milkman was on his route
And he
was the brains behind the series of holdups, which were
The milkman.
The milkman did it.
The milkman did it.
Like consumer dairy or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Consumers
Wow.
dairy.
We need
Remember
a
that?
T-shirt
You
that
got
says the
you got a
milkman
good
did it.
alibi though, because you're out that early in the morning riding
Right.
around. I mean,
we have
I don't
who
see
thought the
anything.
milkman?
April 1st, 1931, so tomorrow. The new Wesley police chief and his deputy will be sworn in. That's when Chief Champlin became chief, and the deputy was Robert Kessel. Let's see, what else do we have? We had one more. It was a good one. So, back April 2nd, 1929, the Elks Club had a charity ball at the Armory, and it was attended by over 500 dancers. The governor then was late, and they were all concerned about his vehicle. They thought maybe it was hijacked because he was late. He just had a tire blowout, so he was late to the Elks Ball.
Oh, wow.
Did he have a driver back then? I wonder.
Let me see.
Probably.
You think they had one back in 1929?
Yeah, probably.
The governor plays in the drive.
Which governor was it?
Listen, I don't go into details.
I like that they didn't think like maybe he's not coming. Maybe no, he was hijacked.
That's
Hijacked.
It was Governor Case.
Case.
Yep, he did have a chauffeur.
He did.
Oh,
Back
Yep.
then.
Yeah.
And then my last one, speaking
We're
of
still an
dances,
elected officials, so
March 30th,
you should have one.
1925,
Somebody should drive you around.
the dance hall party was fined. Too much booze causes appearance of 3 in court. 3 members of the automobile joyride riding party were taken into custody. They had a party across the river in North Stonington, and they came over here and caused some ruckus
Wow.
at the Armory
Across
dance.
the river.
A different Armory
Well,
dance.
now keep in mind, I'm dating myself, and Betty Jo was telling me there used to be Armory dances when we were.
Yes. Yep.
When I was in
YMCA
junior high
dances.
school, there was.
Yeah.
Oh, you would know, Trent. Paul wouldn't know.
No, that was way
Paul
before
would
my
have no
time.
idea.
Right. If you left,
but there
Mr.
was
Kuduri said you couldn't come back
You
in.
couldn't come
Back
back
in.
in.
Do
remember?
not go to the park.
Yeah, there was. I think there were Friday night. Yes,
Yes.
of course, that's where you wanted to go. You wanted to go to the park, right?
You could not. You didn't
Same
get
thing with
back
the Y
in.
on Friday night. You play
That was it.
basketball. You would
Well, we had teen night at the Y. We had that, and same thing. Once you left, you couldn't come back in.
couldn't
No.
come back
I
in.
used to sneak in the teen night too.
Yeah. So we had Armory dances back in the day.
Criminal.
I was.
There used to be basketball at the Armory too. That
Right.
was a gym that was
Yeah,
used
I
for.
played there before. We see all the CYO leagues.
Right.
See, I always
used to
played
play
there.
there.
Yeah.
Tony, did you go to any of those dances we talked about?
Yeah.
No,
I
like
played
the
at
ones
a
in
couple.
The ones in 1931.
1936?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
No.
36 now. I was still.
Similar type of dance. Similar type
Yeah.
of dances.
My grandmother probably did though. She was a senior at Westerly High School, or 19 or something. Or yeah, she was 18 then.
The
I know.
credit union used to have an Easter ball at the Armory. It was the Monday after Easter because that was a holiday. Easter Monday.
So you had Easter Sunday. The next night,
the
they had
next
a ball.
night they had a ball.
I think
Yeah.
the credit union should bring back the Easter
They
ball.
should.
Mm,
Well, you remember years ago we used to have a policeman's
Yes.
ball.
Yep.
Right back when I first got on the policeman's ball, and you would have the reserve officers come in and work the shift.
so that
Right.
everybody could go.
So then everyone had the night off.
Mhm.
And
where
to
was
go to the
that
policeman's
I'm
held?
sure
ball.
those ended really
Oh, they
you know,
did not
calmly
end very well
and
at all. believe
I
me.
would
Without
guess.
incident.
no
without
incidents the next day. No one got yelled at the
But
next
they were
day.
they would have been the windjammer down the beach, captain's watch down the beach. It used to be
Captain
the
Cali.
Watch Hill Inn. I remember I had it a couple times, and they picked them spots all the time.
Things were more
Wow.
formal back then. I mean, I could only
Right.
imagine how nice they were dressed at these dances. and
Oh, absolutely. People
not
were
wearing
really
pajamas to
dressed up.
school.
Pajama bottoms and
No
Crocs,
hoodies
that's
and
it.
no Crocs.
Now,
Mhm.
Chief, we don't have a show between now and Saturday, so I got to ask your opinion on this.
Oh, boy.
Westerly High School reigning defending state champions baseball team versus the Westerly Police Department. Who do you got on Saturday?
Well,
Well, it depends on who's pitching, right?
unfortunately, I'm probably going to say the baseball team. If
Yeah.
I was going to bet,
You're doing it. You got to go for the plea.
well, yeah, but if they have their pitcher pitching, he's not.
Well, we talked about that because we said they can't really be doing fast pitch, hard ball. These guys throwing 70, 89 miles an hour. There's no way.
Well, Coach Pizzato said they're not taking it easy on anybody. You know
No.
what I mean? They're not going to take it easy on anybody.
they're
They
not
got to
gonna.
prepare. They're in D1 this year. They gotta go full speed.
we
They
definitely
gotta-
have some good
yeah,
athletes.
Keep in mind, there
but
could be people watching them leave too. So it's a two-way street now, how these things work. Yeah.
So the problem is we
Wow.
have weekend warriors
Yeah.
that they play. We like for golf. For me now, I grew up on a golf course, Winnapaug.
Right.
I lived right there, so we played every night, and we didn't think anything of it. Now, if I play once a year, I'm lucky. So I get out there, and it's like,
or you get someone like me that played baseball like 1 year, their freshman year, and thinks they're Ken Griffey Jr. trying to play it now. And
So are you playing Saturday?
I don't think I am.
I don't think I am.
I don't think I am.
But you may get
You
drafted.
haven't been voluntold you had to yet?
Well,
yeah.
I'm excited. We'll be covering that.
I haven't been asked, but
we're too old.
I played baseball all through. I used to play Twilight League, the men's league I was in for years, rec league through all school. I mean, all of it, instructional, farm system, little league. But
so you're one of those ones that thinks they're just going to come in and play and be good.
No, I didn't say that.
Right.
I'd have to even go see if I still have a baseball glove.
I have one in my car if you want.
I'm left-handed. That's a good excuse for me all the time because you have to have a left-handed glove.
I am also left-handed.
Are you?
No.
That would've been good.
You could have went with that.
I could
for
have.
you.
Right. I could have.
See,
I'll
chef,
resew it for you.
seamstress, you can do it all.
You just got to wear it on the wrong hand. I've done that before.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well, all right. We'll see.
When is this game?
Saturday at 1.
Saturday at 1.
Saturday at 1. Similori Field. Similori Field. Saturday at 1. We'll be there
because we just put new turf down up there. They
better
I
not.
I got to make sure they even have permission to be there.
We'll blame the high school kids.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Is this the project?
It's Michael Poole's senior project. So I would assume he's pitching, but
he's got to go. You can't.
But maybe they don't want him to pitch because
they don't want him to get hurt.
But the problem is you got a lot of other talented pitchers on that staff as well. You got, the D2 Player of the Year last year, Zach Miner. Yeah. Who you guys are in a lot of trouble, is what I think. I can't think of his last name, of his first name, but Hooper, who Dave and I lovingly refer to as Hoop. We don't know that anybody else has given him that nickname, but we constantly text each other Hoop every time he comes in the game. It was amazing. He was like a freshman and he was lights out. So you guys are in.
Well, let's see how accurate they are. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna be crowding the plate and
probably.
I hope the weather's good.
Let's see.
It's supposed to be nice this week. It's supposed to rain this week. Right?
Yeah, it might rain on Saturday. Honestly,
that even makes it more interesting.
It does.
As long as nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
No, don't get hurt.
As long as we don't get hurt.
Yeah, just don't get hurt.
No, is that on the job injury if one of our
officers
gets hurt?
No.
It's not.
They're representing the police department. Now, if I was union president,
the union.
From a union standpoint.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate it. And we will see you next week for another edition of Roll Call.
Sam Holmesy is going to be here and Joe Fazzaro from the Westerly Fire Department.
Back to firefighters.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
They always offer. Everybody always offers something.
Thank
you very much.
The best smile in Westerly and the star of the Soupy movie. Congratulations.
Thank you. And if you haven't seen it yet, please watch that trailer. It was so much fun doing it, and make sure you catch the documentary as well, because if it wasn't for the documentary, there wouldn't have been a trailer. So
true.
I did
Chris
give Betty
Walsh.
Joe and Chris Walsh
He did a great job
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because without them, and I was honored to be part of that. So
love it.
You did a great job.
For the
Thank you.
The dangler.
Do you have to audition?
Golden dangler.
Do you have to audition? Or
No,
was it the
we
age
just
group
said-
of people, of colleagues you went to school with?
Actually, I was referred by. I was voluntold by my chief that I had to do.
I was asked, and I'm like, I won't fit that. That's not.
But I know who
much of
will.
an actor.
And then
And
my
it was
group of guys
perfect.
that I make soupy with, we all did it together. So it was a lot of fun.
Listen, I was a football player
perfect.
who got voluntold to do theater one day for
And look
Fiddler
what
on the
happened.
Roof, and 23 years later, I'm whatever I'm doing right now. So acting might be your calling.
Not a bad thing.
Could be.
Well, we're possibly looking to do a little podcast, which I'd like my band to do the back
I know.
Perfect.
track and music to it, too,
Perfect.
which would
All
be
right.
really good. So,
Sounds good.
and then I have another idea. Like I said,
I can't
I'll
wait.
get in touch
Okay.
to you.
All right.
All right,
All
guys.
right. Where I
We'll
am.
see you soon.
Hey, have a
Thanks
great
so
week,
much.
everybody. Thanks.
Bye for now. Experience local excellence with Roof Right Roofing in Charlestown, Rhode Island. With over 40 years of unmatched expertise, Roof Right specializes in architectural shingles and holds the prestigious title of GAF Master Elite Installers. Known for their commitment to the community and support for local initiatives, Roof Right is your trusted partner for all of your home's roofing needs. Call today for a free estimate at 401-212 4140.
Hi, this is Dan from Lathrop Insurance. In this challenging insurance environment, Lathrop Insurance can be your beacon in the storm to help you find the coverage you need at the right price. Now, more than ever, you need a partner in the insurance industry that can work with multiple carriers to make sure you have the right coverage at the right price. Lathrop Insurance carries home, auto, and business insurance and can be reached at 401-596-2525. We've been supporting the local community since 1939, and we look forward to working with you.
What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick down here at the Wireless Zone at Dunn's Corners at 224 Post Road, and everybody down here is getting the brand new iPhone 16. We have it here in stock. The best part is right now, if you trade in your old phone, you get it for free. We got deals all weekend, awesome savings. Come on down and see us, 224 Post Road, Dunn's Corners, Verizon Wireless Zone. We'll see you soon.
D&V Mechanical specializes in the installation, maintenance, and servicing of Mitsubishi ductless mini-split heat pump systems. We are certified by Mitsubishi as Diamond Elite Contractors and factory trained and up to date on the proper procedure of the installation and service of Mitsubishi ductless heating and air conditioning ductless heat pumps. We assist with the paperwork to reduce much of the stress-related documentation required to get the state rebates and federal tax incentives. We are not a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-nothing company. We are masters of ductless heat pumps. It's what we do, and it's what we know.